Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and in today's video we'll be talking more about 9.1.5. It's coming out with a lot of quality of life changes for covenant switching as well as renown catch-up. There's even alt leveling benefits as well as alt gearing benefits, but in my opinion, I think you could use more, particularly when it comes to the open world and how they can be interacted, as well as some of the different benefits that are still missing for 9.1.5 when it comes to covenants and renown, as well as a pretty big ask by the community when it comes to gearing primarily for PvP, and I felt like these topics should be explored. Before we dive into those though, you guys that are regulars watching the videos, you guys click on them anyway, and most of you are not subscribed, just hit subscribe, hit the bell, what are you doing? Anyway, let's dive into some of the quality of life stuff that are still missing, but should totally be added in patch 9.1.5. Let's first start off with the covenants. Blizzard is going to be adding an opportunity for us to switch out our covenants whenever we want to. However, you still need to farm the renown for those covenants. There is, however, some renown catch-up. There's an item being sold by a broker in Ouroboros and PTR that will allow your character to boost the renown level up to renown 40. This can be used for your main character. Let's say you've always played Venthyr, but you've never explored the Fae or the Necrolords or the Kyrian, and now's the time to do it in 9.1.5. You can use this item in order to boost all those covenants at least to renown 40. This item could be used on your main character for alternative covenants or for your alt characters and their covenant choices. It'll only boost you up to renown 40, so if you're above that, it won't really do anything for you, but at least it's a way for us to be able to catch up to some of those covenants and not have to grind them from 1 to 80. Instead, the grind is from 40 to 80. The problem that is, the grind will still exist for every one of our alt characters, especially if you are trying to play optimally. To unlock some of the final tiers of traits for the different Soulbinds, you will want to aim for renown 60, which is 20 renown away. But if you are trying to optimize the character even further, you will need to achieve renown 80 in order to unlock empowered conduits. So if you're someone who has fun taking that alt character to the best possible level, trying to do the most that you can outside of gearing in order to maximize their strength and value, you are most likely going to still need to get that 80 renown. Blizzard did remove the requirement for us to have to complete the story before we unlock any of the Soulbinds, as well as other prerequisites in order for us to be able to easier get started and playing the covenants we want on our alts or mains. But if you're trying to play the character optimally, unlock the mandatory Soulbind traits in order to be able to maximize the big value that comes from playing that character playstyle, or maybe even trying to unlock the Covenant Legendary, which might work towards the playstyle you're looking for, you will still need to grind renown. The best solution that I've seen to this problem is allowing renown to become account wide, but only at different levels of progress, where if your main reaches a renown level with a covenant, your alts are able to share in its glory. For example, if you stuck it out with one character as a Venthyr and you've gotten Venthyr Covenant to renown 80 on your main character, you're now a champion of that covenant. And that means your alts that you choose to put as a Venthyr players now share the power benefits of going Venthyr and are starting out at 80 renown from the get-go, which still allows a player to take the journey to get a covenant to renown 80 and upgrade it fully. But if you are playing your alts, you don't have to go through a journey again, but there is still a journey to be had with your main character. It's just your alts can utilize the power benefits of your main's progress. As a player myself, I love grinding on my alts. Even if that grind is something I've done before, I do enjoy the grinds because getting my character up to a level that I want to see them to try a specific build, to try a specific playstyle, to me is enjoyable. Not everybody is going to enjoy it though, and there's probably some kind of a middle ground that we can have between players that love the grind but don't want to do it on alts, or don't really want to grind nearly as much and would rather just be able to play their alts earlier. While we're on the topic of covenants, let's talk about Soulbinds, because Soulbind switching and covenant switching is going to be pretty big in patch 9.1.5. You'll be able to unlock your Soulbinds quicker, and changing your covenants is as easy as going to Ouroboros and talking to an NPC. However, to be able to actually use those Soulbinds, you do have to set up your conduits and activate Soulbinds from the Forge of Bonds, which is that puzzle looking thing that every covenant has that you gotta interact with in order to even be able to enable those Soulbinds before your character is actually playable. For the life of me, I can't understand why we aren't able to interact with those Soulbinds and Forge of Bonds from a distance. You still, if you are switching covenants, you have to first go to Oribos, talk to one of the leaders, fly to the Covenant Sanctum, interact with the Forge of Bonds, slot in the conduits, choose the Soulbind you want, and now you're ready to play. This creates a lot of travel time, and if you're someone who wants to be able to freely switch covenants, it means a lot of kind of waiting for you to be able to go from one sanctum to another just to be able to play your character. Let's take an example. You're playing a rogue and you want to go PvP just on an average afternoon. You swap over to the Necrolord Covenant in Oribos, fly all the way to the Necrolord Soulbind area and set up your Soulbinds with Forge of Bonds. Now you're ready to choose Battlegrounds. Later in the evening, a friend of yours invites you to do some Mythic Pluses, so you decide to swap out to Subtlety as a Venthyr. So now you have to then go to Oribos, talk to Draven in order to be able to join the Venthyr, fly to the Venthyr Sanctum, talk to the Forge of Bonds, set up your Soulbinds and Conduits, and now you're ready to play. And maybe the day after, there's a guild heroic run and you want to try out the Kyrian with the new legendary. So then you go back to Oribos. From Oribos, you select Kyrian. From Kyrian, you go to the Kyrian Sanctum. From Kyrian Sanctum, you go to the Forge of Bonds. From Forge of Bonds, you activate the conduits you want, the soul bonds you want, and now you're ready to play. Imagine if you are going to be switching your covenants to optimize the best you can, but you have to do all this travel time in order to be able to do it. So if Blizzard is able to find a way for us to interact with our soul binds and switching conduits from, let's say, a rested area, kind of like how we can switch our talents from a rested area, or with a book that allows us to switch our talents, if we're able to interact with souls and conduits easily away from the sanctum, it's going to make that experience of being able to switch covenants and play whatever you like far easier. Next, let's talk about PvP gearing. This has been a bit of a sore subject depending on who you are, but PvP gearing, particularly for the casual side of the game, has been kind of grindy. In the previous expansions, there were only two pieces of gear that you could retain from PvP, a full set of honor gear and a full set of conquest gear. In Shadowlands that exists, but this gear has different ranks to it, and Blizzard is trying to smooth over those ranks, as the higher the rank of that gear, the better it scales in PvP, the stronger your character is. But they also have a pretty big separation. Conquest gear is always going to be better than honor gear, as it has been for quite a while from expansion to expansion. But some feel that the gap is pretty big right now, where if someone doesn't want to do any rated PvP and they want to at least be able to have some fun in Battlegrounds with some casual honor gear, they are looking to get stomped around by gladiators and duelists left and right. Also, just to get a full set of honor gear, which some feel isn't really competitive even in casual PvP, with so many of these gladiator players in crazy good gear, just to be able to get the gear so you can get stomped around, it takes a long while because there's so many different ranks to the honor gear upgrading. Whether you agree with these statements or not, I feel like Blizzard can easily improve some of the PvP gearing methods. They are adding different ranks in between for conquest gear, so when you're pushing rating, you should be able to more granularly grow your character, so you're not really seeing the big disparity between rival gear as well as duelist gear, and you'll see gaps in between, and players can get incremental progression in that regard. As for the casual player and the PvP gear, I don't think honor gear should need so many ranks in order to be able to upgrade it to the highest level, even if that level isn't super crazy competitive. I feel like the least they could do is at least reduce the amount of ranks it takes to upgrade PvP gear, and potentially even the cost overall of that upgrade. So if a player wants to play a bunch of alts, they are able to more easily get a character up and running, upgrade their gear to a certain extent, and then start playing the game. It would also probably help out if honor gear at the highest rank wasn't completely bad, because in previous expansions of World of Warcraft there was two ways to get gear. You could either be the best of the best in Gladiator and PvP, or simply just destroy everybody in arenas because of better skill, or you could grind for it. You can invest the time and get rewarded for time investment. Potentially, maybe that's what Blizzard could do if they are going to keep this many ranks of honor gear, at least allow players to be able to grind out the honor in order to at least have some decent item level in PvP. Another thing they could also do to help players out is give some kind of a conquest catch-up, or just increase the amount of honor that players can get. Because right now, the amount of conquest you're going to need by the time 9.1.5 launches is quite a lot. And if you add a conquest catch-up, that could be an opportunity for players to hop on their alt characters, or players that have been outside of the season to hop into the season right now. At least the conquest gear will give them a decent starter item level, so they might potentially be able to push rating, or at least have some gear to play with within PvP. I mean, if you were to dive into 2v2 arenas right now, it would take you 273 or so wins in order to be able to catch up with all the conquests you can earn for the conquest catch up. If they can reduce that number by half, or maybe down to like, I don't know, 40 games, I would think 40 wins in arena is a lot more reasonable than 273 or something like that. There's a lot of little catch-ups Blizzard can do, and if they can implement even half of these, it'll be fantastic. Finally, with the time walking returning and Legion events like the Mage Tower, Mythic Pluses, as well as more time walking dungeons returning, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for Blizzard to potentially do something with the world content. World Quest, for example, I feel like they need a bit of a revamp, as Anima right now doesn't really feel like a worthy reward for any of my alt or main characters, since Anima is literally everywhere in Korthia. So I feel like they should change it up with some more currencies, and also it's a perfect opportunity for some time walking shenanigans. First of all, let's talk about some of the different currencies they could do. I feel like for PvP, for example, to add some more world quests with extra events to get players out in the world PvPing each other, which was pretty fun back in BFA, even though BFA didn't have too many good things about it. If they were to add more world quests into the open world to get more players out and about PvPing each other out in the open, I think that could be quite enjoyable. All you need to do is entice players with a lot of honor and potentially even conquests, and allow players to legitimately get some conquest gear while they're trying out in world PvP. I mean, there's not really a lot of point to turning on war mode. I mean, I guess you can get a little bit more anima from these world quests, and anima seems like it's everywhere, but turning on war mode and getting some honor and conquest for doing the same activities, that could be a little bit more interesting. Now let's talk about time walking. A lot of us are excited for Legion time walking, and I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for Blizzard to find a way to incorporate some of the world quests of Legion to somehow benefits our characters currently in Shadowlands, since world quests in a sense started back in Legion. I mean, so did Mythic Pluses, so did the Mage Tower, but so did the world quests. Currently, there isn't a reason to go back and do some of the Legion world quests, but what if during time walking events, you could do Legion world quests in Legion, earning reputations for Legion, potentially for Paragon boxes, which do contain Legion mounts, and they could just adjust the rewards so these rewards benefit the current gameplay of Shadowlands. So let's say if the gear dropped from Legion, what if the gear item level was higher during time walking week? So if you wanted to level a character and gear him out during time walking, you could do Legion world quests as well as Shadowlands world quests to gear your character. Imagine being able to go back to those PvP world quests in Legion to earn some conquest and honor while fighting other enemy players also trying to earn conquest and honor. Imagine trying to grind that Azuno reputation while also trying to outfit your character with more valor in order to upgrade their gear even further through Legion world quests. It would be a great opportunity to change up the scenery from the Shadowlands zones of Bastion, Maldraxxus, and then in a moment's notice you switch it with the good old Stormheim and the amazing soundtrack to the mountains of High Mountain to Val'sharah and the sprawling forest that it offers. It's a lot of world quests that we don't really need to do nowadays, but it's a lot of content that I think could have a replayability, and that would be a perfect opportunity during time walkings to allow players to replay their content for current relative loot. Anyway, that's going to be all I have for some of the different quality of life stuff that I'm suggesting for patch 9.1.5. You guys let me know in the comments if you think any of these are good ideas at all, or if they're just absolutely atrocious, or how would you take some of my ideas and adjust them to be even better. That's even better. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video. As always, in the description we have a Discord for the Discord community. You guys are more than welcome to join it. I always hang out there all the time. That's probably the best place to reach me on the regular. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see all of you in the next one.